Welcome to True Crime PI. Discover Uncovered. I'm your host, Dana Pohl. I have with me some of my favorite people from an organization that I am so excited to be partnering with. This organization is an amazing community of people who are interested in researching cold cases, and the name of the organization is Uncovered. And today I'd like to introduce you to three people who are doing fabulous work, starting with Ashley. If you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Ashley. I'm one of the co-founders with Uncovered, and I'm head of community.
I'm Annie Eaglin, like Ashley, co-founder of Uncovered, and I am head of product. So I deal with all of the technology, what we're building in the background. So if something breaks, I'm the person you should complain to.
And I'm Rachel, and I lead the case research and visualization of the data.
Ashley, if you could maybe give us a little background on what Uncovered is
Yeah.
and how citizen detectives, ordinary people who are interested in researching cold cases, can use Uncovered.
Yeah, sure. So Uncovered is a database that we're pulling all of the publicly available information related to unsolved cases of murdered and missing. So we're pulling in all of the media reports, all of the news reports, all of the podcasts, documentaries, and public records that exist on a case, and we're visualizing them like never before. So not only can you come and read more of an overview that's victim focused to learn more about a case, but you'll also see a map, you'll see photos, you'll see a timeline that has overlays. So you'll be able to connect exactly the details within the case. And then we also curate sources so you can dig deeper, so you can learn more, you can familiarize yourself even more with the case, and then also take part in our calls to action that we have. So often families are trying to raise money for a crowd fund to get a billboard or to hire a private investigator, or they have simply a poster that they want you to download and to share. Or as we're doing case research, we may find gaps in a timeline. So we're asking people to help us crowdsource the gaps that are in these cases with the intention that we can hopefully uncover more information to share with law enforcement or to help families get some sort of peace or justice.
I am, as you know, a huge fan. But I know right now you're super focused on a crowdfunding campaign. And so I want to make sure that you touch on that and tell people how they can get involved.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. Thank you definitely for touching on that, Dana. So part of this is we're building a company around this. We are a B Corp, so we're a public benefit corp. So we want to make sure that we are responsive to the community that we're curating around this content and moving people in the true crime genre who are interested in content within true crime, but toward advocacy. So what that looks like for us is to be able to finance our next kind of venture within this, which is the data component, which Rachel can definitely speak more to that of we're not just curating information and putting it on a website. We're building a full database to be able to connect the dots. We're curating an interactive community that has digital workspaces where they can go in and work with each other on cases, crowdsource information, take part in training and additional resources. So we know that that takes financing to be able to do that and kind of get to the next level, to not only hire the great people to do that, but compensate people who are already in this field doing that work. So we make sure that we're all accountable to what we're putting out. So Rachel, do you want to talk a little bit more about what that data component might look like?
Yep, would love to. So this crowd fund is going to help us build out the data science part of our of Uncovered. And by that, I mean, if you've ever been on Amazon.com and they've told you, hey, you might want to look at this product too, because you looked at that. That's going to be part of our website, bringing to you cases that you might also be interested in. So understanding, what types of things might interest you and recommending new and different cases that you might not have heard of before, because that's part of our mission, is to bring cases to your attention that you might not have heard of before. But then we're also going to use some machine learning or some artificial intelligence to really sleuth some of those cases. So our citizen detectives, or people that come to the website, are really going to be part of uncovering the new information and uncovering the gaps. And we're going to build algorithms and models that will look at how our citizen detectives are investigating the cases and really feed that information back into our data science to point out spots or people or relationships that we might not have otherwise realized if we were just, sort of thumbing through a case file or looking at different websites. But then another really exciting thing that we hope to do with the data is to create this really large database that surprisingly doesn't exist right now of all the missing and murdered cases out there. And with this, we will be able to look at patterns across the country, look at patterns across the cases. Some of us have listened to podcasts before and thought, that really sounds like another case that I heard about in another state. Well, Uncovered is going to be able to allow you to filter that information and be able to see, oh, yes, there was another case in the state right next to me or the jurisdiction right next to me that had the same sorts of characteristics. So it's going to be this great thing where you can come and discover and learn and help hopefully solve some of these cases that are unsolved today.
Awesome. I have been really excited about using the database itself, but also the community that I have been privileged to be like a beta tester in. So if you could talk a little bit about that community and what that is going to look like.
Yeah, so we're lucky to have you in there helping us beta test right now. And we have a little over 100 people in there every day, kind of testing out the features that we have. Our intention is to be able to build this digital workspace for people so they could come in, they can download additional resources that help them be a more thoughtful, a more insightful citizen detective. So when you come into our community, you'll be hit right away with a water cooler where you're introduced to people, but we're stripping out all of the info that you usually would probably get in maybe a Facebook group of, pictures of people's vacations or, what their views are on politics. We want to make sure that we have this space where people are coming in and they're just simply talking about these cases, about resources that they may need or the help that they may need in these cases. So right now people are asking about filling in the gaps of a case related to a birthday or a location, confirming that information. You can work in your own private workspace where you can pull in information, but then you can also go and work with other people on a case. So as people are interacting with our site, they're taking it to our citizen detective researchers. They're doing a really thoughtful overread and putting more information out there in order to cast this wider net, in order to get more answers.
And I think what's really cool about our community is that we're here to multi-source and to help each other figure out things. Last week, for example, one of our researchers at Uncovered was having some difficulty finding the exact date someone went missing or and her birthday. And people in the community were able to come in with suggestions and possible links and to really help us maybe discover a different way to get at that information. So it's a really great resource for all those citizen detectives out there.
Yeah. We want to be very clear, though, that all of the publicly available information that we are pulling on a case will always be available and always be available free of charge. The notion with our community is we're curating this really great group of people who want to do more and want to dive in to do more, but also the opportunity that people can have that access to do more if they choose to do so. So as we're embarking on our crowdfund now, part of that is you can come in early into our community and you can get early access within our community and a really great onboarding. So you know exactly what to do and how to do it. So you can be part of the first next step of people within our community to utilize these resources and this platform. But we know it's also not for everyone, but we want to be able to build something that everyone feels like they have representation in, that they can participate in. But then this notion of, if you want to do more, we want to be able to provide you the tools to do that in a thoughtful way and a helpful way.
That's awesome. And I think, having been in the community and working with the platform, what I love about it is that it feels like a team. It's
Mm.
you actually are, it takes away that sort of I'm working in a vacuum feeling, and pulls together, a community of people interested in helping to find answers, just like you were saying about the case, or Rachel was saying about the case without the birth date and the missing
Mhm.
date. And unfortunately, there are so many out there like that. So it's so cool to know that we have a team of people that want to work on filling in the blanks. And I'm really excited about that.
And I
Um,
think people
I'm
can,
sorry.
I'm sorry, and
Go
I
ahead.
think people can feel free to chime in with their thoughts on how we might find that information. You don't have to wait to build up so many points to be able to thoughtfully contribute to the conversation. You can just say, hey, I know this great website where I can source this information. So as Ashley mentioned, it's really very inclusive and supportive.
Yes, definitely. So the need. So there's always a need behind a funding campaign. So what is the need?
Our need is just to, the next steps. We've been able to basically bootstrap what you see for the last 18 months. So luckily, I mean, we've all left full-time jobs to be able to focus on this full time, to be able to bring this to the community and bring this to the world. But a lot of this has been done at night and on weekends, and kind of a low code version of we're utilizing tools that people may be using now, but we're finding an opportunity to use them in a more creative way, a more thoughtful way. We want to be able to build that actual database like Rachel mentioned, and to be able to build more tools and more resources for people. So that need is really kind of getting us to the next step, but people being part of that. So as we're building a community for each of us, and we want everyone to have input into that, we also want them to feel part of what that building looks like. So taking part in our crowdfund means that you can contribute to, put in a virtual brick of, our foundation of what we're building at Uncovered. Not only to maybe get a really nice or really cool perk, but to know that you can look back and say, I helped build that really transformed the true crime genre.
To add to
And
that too, and hopefully my internet will not get weird. Um, we want to build infrastructure that's more sustainable. So again, like Ashley said, we're kind of like weaving together these low code tools. Everything we do is very manual, but we've gotten a lot of feedback that this is a good thing. People want us to continue. So we want to take that funding that we can get from this crowdfund and start to build processes and things that will let us scale this to go even further and even faster.
And
Yes.
I would just say very simply, sorry, if
No.
you love Uncovered now, and people have said some really great things to us about Uncovered, um, this is what we're doing with, just bootstrapping it with no money. Um, so just think of what we can do with some support. We can do all the things that Anna said and really dive into the data part, which is gonna just make this really explode in its usefulness and slickness, for lack of a better word.
So we all know, because we're living it and breathing it, but can you give us just a quick overview of why there is a need for a platform like Uncovered? What are the statistics? What are we dealing with as a country, um, in numbers of cold cases?
Yeah. So there are over 200,000 cold cases, unsolved cases of murdered and missing people. And that number will jump by 5,000 each year. Just the clearance rate is around 40%, which is not good. So if you think about that, it just far as grades in school, that's a 60, that's a D. And the notion that most law enforcement agencies, only 20% have some sort of cold case initiative. So we know that just the resources aren't being vested in this notion of these unsolved cases. So why not go to the community that already has an interest in this, and they're consuming this information for entertainment or because they just have an interest in it anyway, but showing them the tools that they can use to fill in those gaps that we know are already happening, where we're not getting a high clearance rate, where families aren't getting justice, and where victims are losing their name over and over again. So being able to provide the resources, especially for those small communities where these cases happen, where less than like 8% of cold case work is even happening, we can provide a huge need from a community that's already engaged, that has great insights and knows how to use digital tools that some in law enforcement don't know how to use, even just some databases and some central searching, but being able to streamline that and provide people with the resources and having a better cohesion within the community is also going to be really helpful. And then making sure that those cases that a lot of times never got the attention that they needed in the community or in the media or in the justice system are being elevated.
Mhm. I think one of the things that people will also be dumbfounded about is that a database like this doesn't currently exist. You have, the Uniform Crime Report, which is a federal database, or you might have a state database, but none of it is connected, none of it is comprehensive, none of it is nationwide. And so we're coming in trying to change the game of saying, okay, we know all this information is out there. We're going to bring it all together to help relieve some of that burden that, as Ashley mentioned, the small town law enforcement they don't have these tools. They don't have the ability to have that database. So we can bring it to them with the help of our citizen detectives.
I'm telling you, it's an awesome idea. It's an awesome so far with everything that you've been able to do with, little along the way is amazing. Um, so moving forward, your goal then is to create memberships.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you could talk a little bit about what those might look like.
Yeah. So we will have different levels for each membership. And like I said before, all of our case information will always be available. We never want to be able to gatekeep that, because the more eyes that people see, the more opportunity to fill in these gaps and to find answers. And right on our site for each case, you see, if you see something, call law enforcement. We're not trying to replace, we're simply trying to supplement and leverage all of the hard work that everyone is doing. But if you want to dig deeper, if you want to be part of the community where these conversations are happening, meet other people who are just like you, there's a level for that. If you want to get access to tools, if you want to get access to resources and experts where you can actually learn more, you can become a learner, there's also a level for that. And then if you want to dig in deep, you want to meet other people who are doing research, you want to have your own digital platform in order to connect the dots on your own case, work with another person or another team of people, or even lead case discussions or take up the cause for a case, there is a level for that.
I'm a librarian and I am so about the freedom of information. But I also love the fact that you're going to be creating the community and offering different levels so that people can get involved in ways that they choose to get involved. And that kind of takes me to the actual crowdfund campaign and how you have some different packages that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you could talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So you'll see a lot of what we have on our site related to perks for the crowdfund. We're trying to put back into the community. While some of them may be a great T-shirt or a sticker or simply a digital thank you, which we want to be able to provide again, everyone, not only at every inclusive level, but every price point level. But you can, pre-buy your membership, early access that puts that back into the community. So you can have that opportunity to meet people. You could also meet other content creators who are working in these spaces and do your own individualized AMA with people who are working in criminal justice reform or some of these cases that are long unsolved, asking any questions that you want asked. Or if you want to pull together some of your friends and do your own true crime trivia, we even have that option. So that opportunity that everyone can provide some sort of engagement within our campaign and really help build what we're doing. We want to be able to provide everyone access to be able to do that.
So the way I see it is, Uncovered is going to be the ultimate one-stop platform. I'd say shop, but one-stop platform for true crime lovers, researchers, content creators, anyone who wants to just build a community around a topic that they love. I mean, I think it has something for everyone. And what I mostly love, like I said, being a librarian and a content creator, I love that the data, we're doing our best, or you're doing your best to make sure that the data is factual. You're trying to eliminate, what sometimes we have to sift through as content creators or as podcasters or as bloggers, and that is the rumors. um, if that's our goal, is to just provide the factual content, which True Crime PI focuses on doing that to the best of my ability. So, and it's very difficult sometimes. So to me, that's a really important piece. And Rachel, I don't know if you have anything you can say to
Yeah.
expand on that.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something. And I was watching, my face went from a smile to really serious because that is so critically important to us at Uncovered, is that we're presenting actual information. We're not trafficking in innuendo. We're not trafficking in conspiracy theories. We are very victim focused, and we want to help the case, not hurt the case. Sometimes that is to say, hey, we know you've heard this theory of the case out there, but it's not true. Here's how we know it's not true. Everybody else will move on. We also provide an opportunity for citizen detectives to say, hey, we think this might be this instead. You need to update the website. So we're all about the facts. We're all about the truth. And we're all about encouraging everyone to contribute thoughtfully. We have, as case researchers, we have a process that we follow about validating the information, how the information is presented on the website, and that goes down to even very important details such as if the person is transgender, using their correct and preferred pronouns. All of those details are very, very important to us, and we have guidelines that we follow ourselves, and then also ask that our citizen detective researchers in the community follow too.
Yeah. We appreciate so much your approach, Dana, particularly with digital literacy, making sure that people realize, what's good, what's a source. I think there's a famous quote by Neil Gaiman of, you have a question, ask the internet and you get 1,000 or 1,000,000 answers, ask a librarian and you get the right. We want to be able to serve that of, yeah, you can put anything into Google and get information, but we want to show you how to validate that information, what's accurate information, who you should listen to, particularly on these cases, and when we are working with family members. So we definitely believe what we're creating is going to be a game changer for those citizen detectives, for content creators, for people who are just interested in true crime, but be able to kind of take the next step, but also for family members who are probably maintaining their own website and having trouble kind of keeping their loved one's case out into the media, either on anniversaries or just getting to the next step. We want to be able to supplement and help that as well, knowing that we are updating in real time as much information as we can. And we know for a lot of family members that's difficult. So if we can come in alongside them and elevate the work that they're doing and champion, really be support for that, and provide people in the community who are looking for more information a direct line for accurate information, what the next steps are, so they feel like they are accomplishing something as well.
It's really, the more we talk, the more we find out that you can't hardly put what uncovered is going to be, or is currently and is growing into a nutshell. I mean, it doesn't fit in a nutshell. There's just so much that can be done. All of the different aspects of becoming a member, even the events that you hold, and the educational kind of programming that you're doing. The FOIA request 3-day series was awesome. So those kinds of things are invaluable, and I'm assuming those will be part of the membership package. And so yeah. I think that it's just amazing, and there really is, the sky is really the limit as far as what you all are doing. And I am, like I said, super excited to be working with you, and I can't wait to see what happens. So yeah. Thank you for your time. If there's anything else you'd like to add, go right ahead.
I want to say one quick thing to that, because you're totally right. And I really appreciate you saying that, Dana. But one thing I think that we believe is that, like, we have a vision, and we have a vision for what this community is, but we believe like some of this is going to be really emergent. It's going to depend a lot on the people who come and want to build this community with us. We are very open open to feedback. We're super open to ideas. So I think, again, we have an idea of what we think this could be and where we could grow. But as with all kind of ideas in the world, sometimes things just take their own path. And so, again, having people come along with us, especially for kind of the start of this journey, like help us shape what this thing really will become.
That's awesome. And so I just want to urge everyone who's listening or viewing to go to uncovered.com, check out the crowdfunding page, make a donation, and let's grow this community together. If you like what you heard and saw today, hit the subscribe button and listen to True Crime PI anywhere you get your podcasts.